I think we might be receiving some other people that are just joining. In the meantime, I'm going to be introducing myself and asking Melissa also to introduce herself. I'm Clara Irazabal. I'm the director of the Urban Studies and Planning program and hence of the Masters of Community Planning that you're interested in. And I'm originally from Venezuela, but I have been living in the States for almost 3 decades now. I've lived in multiple places pursuing my education and then working as a professor. I've lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, attending Berkeley. Then I worked as a professor in Los Angeles at USC, and then in New York City at Columbia University, and then in Kansas City at the University of Missouri. Kansas City before coming here and joining almost 2 years ago now. And I'm very happy that I landed here. I selected to come to this program as you are, I hope, selecting to come to this program. And I'm very pleased that I did that. And I'm enjoying my time here and learning a lot. Every day is an adventure of learning and co-facilitating teaching and learning for everybody else that is involved in our program. Melissa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Payes, and I am the Program Management Specialist here with our Community Planning Program. I help Clara with all the day-to-day administrative tasks, not just Clara, but our students as well, our faculty, making sure we have a smooth, transition between the program needs and what the students need. And I'm always here, just an email or a phone call away. I'm always happy to help with any questions that you may have. So always feel free to shoot me an email. I'll drop my email in the chat shortly. I've been with the program for a year now, and I, as Clara just mentioned, I'm very happy that I also landed here at the University of Maryland with the School of Architecture and Community Planning. So welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Damilola, do you want to say something? You have your hand up?
Yes, I want to say something. Just back.
Please.
Break. Yeah, my name is Damilola. I'm from Nigeria. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, I've already applied for the graduate program. And we were promised the application fee waiver after applying. So I'm yet to get that. That's my number 1 question. And then my number 2 question is about funding for graduate students, because I applied for community and regional development for fall 2023 admissions. And I sent mails on how I could get funding as a prospective graduate student. So,
well, thank you.
Hello?
I will address your question because I suppose that other people in attendance will be interested in this. We haven't promised people that we are going to be waiving their fee for the application, but we are going to consider a few waivers after we finish with the open houses that we have, and we have 3 in a row, each 1 month. So this in October, 1 in November, 1 in December, and you will still have time to be considered after that because our application deadline happens in January. We do have some opportunities for funding for students, but we cannot also promise funding to students at this point. All of students that are accepted to the program will be considered for the few graduate assistant positions that we have. And on a competitive basis, depending on the experience and the interest that they bring to the program and the type of projects that we're running at the time that have funding to support those positions. I'm going to be proceeding with other aspects of the program right now and then opening it up for further questions at the end. I want to learn from all of you in attendance, so I would want for you to use the chat to please let us know your name and the city and country where you are connecting from, please. Okay. That is your base country or
All right.
city that you are connecting from, please,
Okay.
so that we
okay.
all learn from each other.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your response on that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So Felix from Baltimore, Shira from Mitchellville, Maryland. How about the others?
Oregon Salerno from Washington, D.C.
Ebenezer from Ghana. Wonderful. Hey, Ariel, how are you? Thank you for joining us. We're learning from the people that are joining us in the meeting. So they are writing on the chat where they are from. So we're learning that we have people from different places here in the region and also people from across the world. And it's phenomenal, and I think quite representative of what we have regularly in our programs. We're growing our international set of students in our program, and we're planning to continue doing that. And at the same time, we're very proud of the variety that we have in terms of origins that the students bring from the region and from the rest of the country as well. And I think that's very enriching for the experience that not only students have, but also faculty and everybody else in the program. Now, let me know a little bit about your background. What is or was your major, and in what institutions you got it? If you can write that in the chat, please. What is or was your major, and what institution you got it from? So what did you study in college or are studying in college? Spanish writing and literature. Land management. Film and theater. Agriculture and plant biology. How wonderful, again, how wonderful to see the diversity of majors that you would bring into the program. We celebrate that, we welcome all of that. We think that those majors are phenomenal to continue on your education in planning, because planning is an interdisciplinary field and it really needs to borrow and also contributes to all of these subjects. And we really benefit from the rich perspectives that you bring when you represent these different type of majors and institutions as well. Wonderful. Then what attracts you to planning? If you can say that in a word or a short phrase or sentence, why are you interested in community planning? Why this particular subject? If you can share that briefly, please. And asking because I think it is as important for you to learn about us, about our program and our faculty, as it is to learn from each other and about each other, because you learned as much from faculty as from your class of peers. An immigrant from China, Feng Weeping, thank you for joining us. No, we are not asking for test as part of the application. The test is optional, so you can present it, but you're not gonna be graded down if you don't.
Thank you, Clara, Professor Clara. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would any of you want to share what attracted you to planning? I want to understand why different communities have access to more resources and development than others. Yes, understand how resources and opportunities are distributed and why there might be inequality in that distribution. very central to the concerns of planning. It desires to prioritize indigenous knowledge, past and present, to address climate change and ensure our collective survival. Wonderful. These are great concerns of us as well, and something that our faculty pushes very hard for. Let me tell you that aside from being the director of the program, I'm also the JEDI officer, that is Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion officer for the school. My predecessor in that position is also here, Professor Ariel Bierbaum. So that's one way of telling you how important it is for us, issues of justice and equity, diversity and inclusion that you're speaking of as you share the interest that you have in planning. And lastly, let me ask you, what attracts you to this program? Why us? Why now? If you can tell us a little bit about that too.
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Yeah, I already asked you what attracted you to planning in general. You can continue sharing that as Shira is doing with respect and honor for creation. But I also want to learn why this program in particular. You have many choices. There are many planning programs in the nation. Why us? Why now?
Do you want me to share what Shira wrote, Laura?
Yes, please.
Creation. As God created something out of nothing, I'm fascinated by the idea of building and creating beautiful places, sustainable, environmentally friendly cities that establish communities and build culture. Thank you, Shira. Corrigan, I'm interested in transportation planning as a way to increase equity. UMD's interdisciplinary and localized approach is very attractive to me because I can see real results from alumni in the area.
Yes, that's great. You're the type of students that we want to attract to our program by the things that you are sharing with us here. And I think that you will find in this program a good fit for your interest. We're also very excited to learn, to tell you, as Corrigan was signaling here, that we have a wide wave of alumni in the region and in other parts of the country and even the world that are very committed to supporting our students and act as mentors for them and offer them internships and their first jobs after graduation. So that's a great asset that the program offers. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Let me tell you a bit more about our program. So let me share my screen to do so. And now that we have Ariel with us here, I want to invite her to briefly introduce herself. So I don't have to, because you already saw this slide that I'm just sharing about our master program. So it's a 2-year program. If you take it as a full student, you can also take it as a part-time student and take a little bit longer, but that's fine. No negative repercussions for doing that. Most, if not all of our students work, as also Lindsay suggested. Some of them have part-time jobs. Some of the jobs are with us or with agencies that we have partnerships with, and they are part of their internship. That is a requirement of our program. And some of them work full-time. That is why most of our classes happen in the evening, started at 4 p.m. So that people can have those the rest of the days devoted to work, and that's how students support themselves together with the few GAs and TAs that we can offer. The program asks for you to complete 48 academic credit units, and that is composed of a number of core courses, that is mandatory courses that everybody takes, but also a wide variety of choices of electives that you can take depending on your interest, depending on the specialization that you want to make. And we take a lot of pride in the sense that our capstone experience for the students in the program is a studio that is a real engagement with communities and planning agencies in the region to do projects that support what they are currently doing. And also that internship that I already referred to. You can specialize on a number of things and you can craft your own specialization with the support of mentors that you will get. Every student is assigned a mentor in our program and he or she can help you create your own path through the program. I already told you a little bit about myself, but regarding my work, I do work that refers to community development and mostly centers on immigrant communities and Latin American communities and communities that are minoritized in the countries, communities of color or low-income communities. And I also work internationally. About half of my work refers to Latin America, and I have taken students with me to multiple countries in Latin America, and I teach studio. I teach studio sometimes internationally and sometimes locally. Currently, we are teaching studio in which we are working together with a historic African-American community nearby the campus that was badly damaged by a project of urban renewal that happened in the 70s and 80s. And now the city is interested in pursuing restorative justice for this community, so that we're helping the city figure out what does that mean, how does restorative justice look like, and how it can be implemented for this particular community. And we hope that with our recommendations, other communities can also benefit from those same proposals that we have. Before moving on to our dean, I'm gonna let Ariel introduce herself, please.
Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Ariel Bierbaum. I'm an assistant professor here in Urban Studies and Planning. There I am. My research looks at the intersection of people, place, and schools. So in particular, I'm interested in the ways that in planning, we do what I call setting the conditions for learning. So what goes on with young people and families inside of school buildings is actually structured by our socio-spatial environments outside of school, our communities, our neighborhoods, our transportation systems, our housing policy. And I'm interested in the ways that planning and education over time, historically, have worked to marginalize particularly Black and Brown communities in the United States. So I have a number of research projects going on. You can see the bulleted list there. I won't go into them in any great detail right now, but I in many ways think of myself as sort of a generalist in planning. Public education is not its own subfield in planning, and so I am interested in the ways that K-12 public education touches many arenas of planning. So I have work in community development and housing, issues of gentrification in schools, transportation and public education, and also environmental justice. I see a lot of master's students in their time here because I teach many of the classes in the core curriculum, particularly ones that first year students take, and I love it. In particular, history and theory of planning is one that first years often take in their first semester, and because of the accident or the gift of scheduling, it's often that I get the opportunity and the gift to see you all on your first day of grad school in your first class ever. And it is one of my favorite things because I think together I really like to work with students on their journey in planning school and help them clarify where they've been and this moment in this program, whether it's 2 years or 4 years, will take them to the next place where they're going. And so I really treasure that opportunity. So I teach history and theory. I teach a planning process class, which focuses on professional development, reflective practice, and participatory planning tools and techniques. I often teach a qualitative methods class. So how do we think about using the tools of qualitative research methods and adapting them for practitioners. And then I teach a specialized elective seminar on planning policy and public education, which varies year over year. the past 2 years, we've been working in partnership with folks in Philadelphia to support organizers and movement builders on the ground there who are working on a peoples-driven school facilities master planning process. And so we're supporting the work of organizers. The class this semester is actually to do that. They're actually developing the beginnings of 2 oral histories of community organizing in Baltimore and in Washington, D.C. around school building renovation and building healthy school buildings for communities there. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm very excited to see the range of folks who are here. I really appreciated Dr. Arrazabal's questions and all of your answers. I think, again, one of the gifts and benefits of a planning program is that we that place matters to all of us, right? And you don't have to come from a particular discipline, and then we can be on this journey together. So the combination of, even just on this call, of the creatives and folks who have background in more natural sciences and folks in social science and design, that's just like the joy and excitement and energy of being in a planning program. And so I thank you all for being here, and I hope that I get a chance to meet you, some of you next academic year as well.
Thank you, Ariel, and we are very appreciative of everything you do for our program and for our students. You are a phenomenal professor and mentor. We're very lucky to have you. Now you can decide to stay with us for the rest of the session or move on to the many duties that you have ahead of you on your day, but thank you for coming out. You already heard Dean Dawn Jordan is the dean of the entire school, but we're lucky to tell you that she is a planner and she is a lawyer. So the combination of those degrees allow for her to be our teacher for the law class that we offer as part of our program. And she's phenomenal and a great teacher, and you will enjoy having her in class as well as a leader for the school. Then we have Casey Dawkins, that is our professor of housing and growth management. And he recently did or published this book on just housing, the moral foundation of American housing policy, which is phenomenal. I anticipate that it's going to be getting some awards, and because it offers a new conception of housing justice grounded on moral principles. Why is it that we need to do better? We need to do better in housing because it's the moral thing to do. Then Professor Shengri Dean, she is originally from Korea, raised in China, brings that international perspective to the classes that he teaches, because he continues to work as consultant for many Chinese cities and other levels of government. As a matter of fact, he'll be spending our spring semester in China, strengthening those relationships and finishing a book on mega cities that he's writing currently at the moment. And he teaches for us our urban economic development courses. Then we have Professor Marcus Hendricks, originally from Texas, and is an associate professor that we have that also directs the Stormwater Infrastructure Lab, a lab with which he offers a number of research graduate assistant positions to our students to work on infrastructure and environmental planning. And again, examine, just as Ariel does in the area of public education, in this case, in the area of infrastructure and stormwater infrastructure, to be more specific, how we see that we have disparities and inequities in our environment across different communities and how we can address that. He teaches community resilience, urban infrastructure, the sustainable city, and growth management as well. And then Hiro Iseki, that you met in our general part of the meeting today. He is the director of the PhD planning program, but he's also an active professor in our master program, teaching our courses in transportation and the built environment, and transportation and economics, travel behavior, climate change, and issues of equity. He centers a lot issues of equity as they relate to transportation in these different realms that I just mentioned, including climate change, a lot of involvement with electric vehicles, for example. Then we have Garrett Knapp, that is a longtime professor in our program and also the founding director of the National Center for Smart Growth, that center that does a lot of work on smart cities and sustainability. It's a premier national and international reference for that type of work. And he just published a book that visits those 20 last years of the work of the center and the work of other people that have collaborated with the center in doing this type of very important work. And smart cities in general and smart growth in particular is very central to governments in Maryland. So you will have the opportunity to be exposed to that in multiple arenas, either through the center that is part of our school, or in the internships that you will have with our governments all around the state. And then last but not least, Willow Long-Aman is the director of the Small Business Anti-Displacement Network. And that's the type of work that she's centering at the moment, how to promote and center and benefit and improve small entrepreneurs, particularly entrepreneurs of color all across the nation. She is also a very prolific writer, published this book, Trespassers, Asian American and the Battle for Suburbia, and is about to publish a new book on redevelopment politics and equitable organizing in the Washington, D.C. suburb. Very well connected all across the region with the multiple entities that are also opportunities for our students to position themselves for internships or work. Aside from our core professors that I just introduced you, we have 8 professors that are full-time jobs, that have their full-time jobs in our school and in our program. And this differentiates us from all of the other programs, I think, in the region, because most others work on the work of lecturers or adjunct professors mostly, as opposed to core professors as we have. Not to say anything negative about adjunct professors, because we also have them and they contribute tremendously to our program. So you will be exposed to multiple practitioners as instructors and mentors, including alumni and members of the 2 chapters that we belong to related to the American Planning Association. And the American Planning Association is the professional association of planners in the country. And we belong to the Maryland chapter, and we belong to the National Capital Area chapter. And this is very unique for our program as well, belonging to 2 different chapters of the American Planning Association, and therefore expanding the opportunities for our students to network across those. So let me stop the sharing for a minute and see your questions and your reactions to what we have shared already. Ebenezer?
Yes, ma'am. Hello,
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Ghana. I'm from Ghana, and I've already reached out to you about the program, about the community planning program. And I had a wonderful feedback encouraging me to apply. But I have 2 concerns. The first one has to do with the application fee. Some of us back from Africa and Ghana, with the devaluation of the currency, are finding it difficult to apply or pay for the application fee. And I was thinking, how can we get to know that we are going to receive it? And when can we get it so that we can finally submit our application? And the second one has to do with the assistantship. Since you don't have to apply for the assistantship, what are the criteria for selecting students for the assistantship?
Yes, I already referred to that. All of you in attendance to our open houses are going to be considered for fee waivers once we have had our open houses. That is at the end of November. And I cannot promise you that you will get it, but you will be seriously considered. And at that point, we will announce that. We will let you know. And the assistantships, all of you are going to be offer the opportunity to be considered for assistantships, and it depends on your current CV, if you wish, and in your current essay that you proposed in with your application, and the fitting or the pairing that we can get of your expertise and your skills and your interest as well, together with the ones that our professors and our research centers have, and the need that they have and the funding that they have to support those positions. So it's something that I cannot tell you right away, but you are going to be considered if you're admitted to our program. Any other question or comment?
Hello.
Yes.
Based on your response, I have a follow-up question.
Yes, please.
Does it mean we need to secure a supervisor before thinking of applying, since your chances of getting a sponsorship will be connected to the supervisor's ability and funding resources and their level of expertise?
No, you don't have to connect with professors before submitting your application and being admitted to the program. But if you find particular interest in the work that a professor is developing in the program, you're certainly welcome to send him or her an email and try to set up a short Zoom meeting or have an email exchange to learn more about what they do and the possibilities of you working with them. Something else?
Okay, thank you. So
I
meaning
also-
we have to wait by the end of November before we can see that we will get a chance to have the waiver to
Yes.
submit our application. But some of us are relying on the waiver.
Yes, yes, that's the
The
case.
Have to be the end of December when we have our last open house. Sorry,
Okay, when is our last open house? Do you remember the date?
December 17th, I believe.
That will give you sufficient time to apply because the deadline for applications happens in January. I also
Okay,
want to
thank
learn.
you.
You're welcome. I also want to let you know that we have a very active student planning association. Our students, many of them are leaders and they opt to be part of the leadership committee for the Student Planning Association, and in partnership with us, with the director of the program in particular, with me, we plan for multiple extracurricular activities and different types of extracurricular activities, such as lecture series, panels of professionals in different areas of the planning field, outings also, nature outings or tours of developments in the region, multiple different types of activities that support student formation as new planners in their new profession, but also allow for them to get mentors, network, and pursue opportunities for internships and jobs. So this is a very important asset in our program. Melissa.
Yes, Shira has dropped a comment and says, this session has been extremely helpful. Thank you. Can you speak about the JD/MCP program, please?
Well, it's one of the dual degrees that we offer in this time with law. The law degree part happens in Baltimore at the University of Maryland, Baltimore campus. And the planning part of that dual degree program happens with us at College Park. And if you were to pursue that dual degree on our end, you will have the support of the dean that, as I told you, is a lawyer herself and understands very well the importance for planners to be knowledgeable about issues related to normatives and regulations and policies and laws. All of the students will learn about that in our regular master program, but certainly the ones that pursue the dual degree with law will go in more depth into that.
Hello.
Yes.
It seems I'm the only one asking question. I would like to know, since the program is within the architecture faculty or the department, is this program a STEM program or?
No, we do not currently have the STEM designation. We're going to be exploring the possibility of pursuing it, but it's not yet available.
Okay, thank you.
I can share more information about the program with you then. Let me share screen again.
Thank you so much. And I did write a question in the chat. I thought you all preferred questions in the chat. So thank you so much. I was just curious about the idea of the course schedule. If we can have an idea of the course schedule, please.
Yes, you will find more information about the course schedules in our website and also in our handbook that Melissa can share with you. There are samples of how you can plan your 2-year degree, or if you're going to extend it for dual degrees. We have samples of how the courses might look like in the time period that you spend with us. But as I said, also regularly courses take place in the afternoons and evenings of Monday through Thursday days of the week, starting at 4 p.m. and ending at 9:40 p.m.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to briefly share with you a couple of other ideas. Oh, we have Professor Shengri here. Thank you, Shengri.
We can't hear you, Shengri.
We don't hear you.
Put the volume up, maybe.
No, I think this is the microphone has a problem. The microphone has a problem, okay? So Fabulous helped me to fix it. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Yeah, the microphone.
Okay.
Well, I already introduced you to the students through a slide that I have. Thank you for coming up, and I hope that for next time you have your microphone functioning, okay?
Okay, sure. But okay. But if I have questions, I can type up. That means I can chat.
We'll have you next time. Thank you. Let's take advantage of the couple of extra minutes that we have together so that I can present to you how I see that this program is different from others as well. I want to congratulate you for considering coming to the Masters of Community Planning. I think that master can position yourself to be an agent of change, to see the transformations of the world that you spoke about having a world that is more equitable, that is more sustainable. I think that will equip you with the skills and knowledge and tools that you will need in order to enact that transformation. And I commit myself as a director of the program to support the assets and strengths of the program, to respond to the crisis that we are seeing in the world, to challenge the current developmental paradigm, the way we go about building our cities today, and to reclaim our planning imagination. I think that we have a good base represented here by the base of this pyramid, composed of student, faculty, and our community partners out there. And they all point up to having better human settlements that are more sustainable and more just. We contribute very well to that when we work collectively, as we work collectively. In terms of assets and strength of our program, I already introduced you to the faculty that we have, but I consider that you, our students, are our greatest of assets because you bring those very different perspectives, different origins, different academic backgrounds that we put together to collectively learn from each other and enrich our experience together. I refer to crisis in the world, and it is no secret that we are in a climate crisis, that we haven't overcome the social and racial crisis of injustices in the world, that we're living through a pandemic that is still with us. It's a public health crisis, and that all of those together have brought about an economic crisis, and we're facing enormous economic strength. And all of those, create negative synergies working together to create a world that seems to be a monster of multiple ugly faces that we need to confront. And we can, and planning does a lot to do that. And we can go from an unsustainable and unjust world to one that is a lot more sustainable and just, with your contributions in this field of planning. I also want for our program to challenge the current way we go about building our cities and living collectively in our cities. You will be exposed in your courses to this model model of sustainable development that is supposed to be composed of these three spheres: the economy, equity, and the environment. And supposedly we need to bring about balance between these three different spheres of life. But the fact is that the way we go about development nowadays benefits the economy or centers the economy above everything else, and sometimes at the expense of everything else, squeezing equity and the environment in the process. And what we suggest in our program is that we need to rebalance and refocus that model, and to put equity and environment at the top as the ends that we have, as our goals, as our benchmarks, if you wish, and reconsider economy as the means, as the instrument that can bring us to produce a world that is more socially just and environmentally sustainable. And lastly, we in our program want to invest and emphasize the reclaiming of our planning imagination, to recenter planning as a leader in this transformation that we want in the world, to contribute to make the world more sustainable and just. So we want for you to be a part of that. And today you are faced with this consideration, right? Where do you go from here? And I invite you to consider very seriously to come with us, to apply to our program, and to go through our program to become that agent of transformation of the world that you want to see. Thank you for your consideration, and let me know if you have questions or comments, please.
Thank you, Professor Clara. I have a question. In terms of climate change, public health, and so on, does the United States have new policies entering the planning?
I'm not certain I understand you. Would you mind sharing your question or comment in the chat, please?
I do see that Weeping sent a question that says, does community planning teach design courses? Does this degree require a CIP certificate?
We don't, within our program, teach design, but we are in the School of Architecture and Urban Design, so you can take courses in design in the architecture program, in the urban design program, and a new program that we are currently starting that is called Creative Placemaking, and count those in our program as electives. And yes, in order to become a certified planner, you need to pass an exam after you graduate. And that's one of the things that the Student Planning Association concerns itself with, promoting preparation for that exam and allowing for some financial support so that you can present the exam and be successful in getting the accreditation.
Okay, thank you.
You don't need to do anything specifically to prepare for the program in response to Shira. Certainly, we can recommend you some lectures, some readings to do, some webinars to watch, but it is not required. You do preparation by doing very well in the major and in the job that you currently have, because as I said, those type of knowledges and skills and backgrounds that you bring, we feed out of them in our program.
Okay, Shira says, is there anything in particular that you are looking for in students in addition to what you shared earlier?
We look for passion, for commitment, to an interest, a genuine interest in the planning field that you can explain in your essay, in your application, a genuine interest in our program and in our school specifically that you can also be explicit about in your essay, and the sense that you are not applying to all of the programs that are out there in general without any specific knowledge about why is it that you selected this particular program to apply with. And it would also help us to learn a little bit, what are your career plans? And not that you have to have all your career planned at this point, but if you have a sense of what you want to do with this degree, we would want to learn about it.
Weeping also sent another message. In terms of climate change, public health, etc., does the United States have new policies entering the planning?
Yes, it is a very exciting time because the Biden administration has put forth some new policies in place and some new funding in place that will support drastic work in the area of climate change, including climate justice. So it is a very exciting time to be part of planning in the country. Some last comments or questions or reactions to today's meeting? Or something else you want to share about your background?
Oregon states, on that note, do you think it's problematic to have a lot of planning, success, and funding tied to transportation programs?
Well, no. The more success and the more funding that you can get for planning programs, the better. It also depends on what type of planning you're pursuing, right? Because not all planning programs have been for the promotion of more just and sustainable worlds. As a matter of fact, many of the things that have been done in transportation through history have benefited, private transportation and the creation of more freeways, and sometimes those freeways have destroyed actual communities and neighborhoods, usually of low-income communities and people of color. So we don't want to repeat those mistakes of the past or get more funding and support for those type of programs in the future. But transportation can do much better and is starting to do much better, focusing on sustainable transportation and multimodal transportation, electric vehicles, and the sort. So we would want that type of support. So we said that we were going to host this meeting till 2 p.m. It's now a minute to 2. I want to thank you again for coming out today. I hope that what we presented is exciting for you. Let us know if you have other questions or comments. Share that with us via email or come again to our next open house. Do you have the date for that, Melissa?
Yes, the next one is November, I believe, 17th. Let me just double check.
And what we would want to see is your application in our pile. It's a very competitive pile, but I'm certain that you're gonna raise to the top of the pile. So please apply to our program. We will be very happy to have you in the upcoming class. Thank you for your attention again.
Thank you, Professor Clara.
I can stay for a couple of extra minutes if somebody have some other questions. And Melissa, did you check on that date?
I am looking for the date. I just had it because I sent something out about it.
We receive about 80 applications, more or less, and we accept about 25 people. But we extend invitations for plenty others.
So the dates are November 21st from 12:30 to 2 and December 5th from 12:30 to 2 as well.
And that is in Eastern daytime for people that are in other time zones.
Okay.
All of them are virtual.
They are. And I will send out an email again if you'd like to be, I will send it out to you again if you'd like to join again. But we will need to wrap this up as I was just instructed. They're going to end the meeting.
Okay, very well.
Yeah.
So glad to see you again. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your background, and do send that application to us. Have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.